the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
T.S. Eliot was a major force in 20th-century literature, leaving his mark as a poet, playwright, critic, and editor. He was born in America but later became a British citizen, bridging the literary worlds of both countries. As a poet, he was a leading figure in the modernist movement, crafting works like The Waste Land that captured the feelings of disillusionment and fragmentation prevalent in the modern era. His poetry was innovative, experimenting with form and language to express the complexities of life in the 20th century. Beyond poetry, Eliot explored the theater, writing plays such as Murder in the Cathedral. His critical essays were incredibly influential, shaping literary discussions and how we understand literature itself. He also played a crucial role as an editor, particularly at the journal The Criterion and the publishing house Faber and Faber, where he championed many important writers. Eliot's contributions were recognized with the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1948, cementing his legacy as one of the most significant writers of his time. His work continues to be studied and appreciated for its insights into the human condition and its lasting impact on literature. T.S. Eliot's early life was shaped by his upbringing in St. Louis, Missouri, where he was born in 1888. He came from a family with New England roots, and his grandfather had established a Unitarian church in St. Louis. Though his father was a businessman, it was his mother, Charlotte Champ Stearns, who had a passion for writing poetry and worked as a social worker, a relatively new profession at the time. Young Tom, as he was known to family and friends, was the last of 6 surviving children. His childhood wasn't without its challenges. Eliot struggled with a congenital double inguinal hernia, which limited his physical activities and social interactions with other children. This physical limitation, however, nurtured his love for literature. He found solace in books, immersing himself in stories of adventure and the Wild West. He described his childhood in St. Louis as deeply influential, feeling that growing up by the Mississippi River shaped his perspective in a way that was unique to those who hadn't shared that experience. This early environment, combined with his passion for reading, laid the foundation for his future as a writer. T.S. Eliot's first major work that really put him on the literary map was the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. He actually started working on it around 1910 while he was a graduate student at Harvard, and it was finally published in 1915 in the journal Poetry. This poem was quite a departure from the traditional poetry of the time, and it immediately grabbed people's attention. It's a long, introspective piece that explores the thoughts and anxieties of a man named J. Alfred Prufrock, who is deeply insecure and struggling to connect with the world around him. The poem is full of imagery, symbolism, and a stream of consciousness style that was very innovative for its time. Prufrock is now considered a cornerstone of modernist poetry, and it really launched Eliot's career as a major literary figure. A collection of poems titled simply, Poems, published in 1920. This collection further solidified his reputation as a modernist poet and showcased his evolving style. It included works like Gerontion, a poem that explores themes of old age, disillusionment, and the loss of meaning in the modern world. Eliot's next major work was arguably The Waste Land, published in 1922. This poem is considered his masterpiece and a landmark of modernist literature. It's a complex and fragmented work that explores themes of disillusionment, spiritual emptiness, and the breakdown of civilization in the aftermath of World War I. The Waste Land is a long poem, divided into 5 sections, and it draws on a wide range of sources, including mythology, religion, and literature. It's known for its challenging style, with its shifts in voice, fragmented imagery, and allusions. But it's also a deeply moving and powerful poem that captures the anxieties and uncertainties of the modern world. Ash Wednesday, published in 1930, marks a significant turning point in T.S. Eliot's poetic journey. Coming after the groundbreaking, and often bleak, landscape of The Waste Land 1922, Ash Wednesday reveals a shift in Eliot's focus. The year 1930 finds Eliot exploring more personal and spiritual territory. Instead of the fragmented world he depicted earlier, Ash Wednesday delves into themes of faith, repentance, and the search for meaning. This poem, published in 1930, reflects Eliot's own spiritual journey and his growing inclination towards Anglicanism. It's a more introspective and contemplative work, showcasing a sense of humility and a recognition of human limitations. While still employing rich symbolism and imagery, Ash Wednesday, published in 1930, has a quieter, more personal tone than The Waste Land, inviting readers to reflect alongside Eliot on the deeper questions of existence. It's a crucial poem for understanding not just Eliot's artistic development, but also his internal world in 1930. His next major work, in a sense, was a shift in focus. While he continued writing poetry, he increasingly turned his attention to other forms. It's less about a single next major poem and more about a period where his dramatic work became more prominent. He began working more seriously on plays, with Murder in the Cathedral 1935 being a significant example. This verse drama, dealing with the martyrdom of Thomas Becket, marked a new phase in his creative output, showcasing his ability to blend poetic language with theatrical form. He began working on what would become his final major poetic achievement, 4 quartets. These 4 long poems, published individually between 1935 and 1942 and then collected together in 1943, are considered by many to be his masterpiece. So, the answer is poetry, specifically the interconnected and profound sequence of 4 quartets. T.S. Eliot's theatrical explorations continued with The Family Reunion, which premiered in 1939. This play marked a shift from the historical setting of Murder in the Cathedral to a more contemporary, psychological exploration of family dynamics. While still employing verse, The Family Reunion delves into the complexities of guilt, the weight of inherited burdens, and the often fraught relationships within a family. It represents a further evolution in Eliot's dramatic writing, showcasing his ability to use poetic language to illuminate the inner lives and struggles of his characters in a modern context. Although its initial reception wasn't as universally enthusiastic as some of his previous works, The Family Reunion remains a significant part of Eliot's theatrical output, demonstrating his ongoing commitment to exploring complex themes through the medium of drama. Eliot continued to write, but his major creative work had largely been completed. He focused more on his role as a literary and cultural figure, giving lectures, writing essays, and continuing his work at Faber and Faber. He also wrote more plays, but none achieved the same level of critical acclaim as his earlier dramatic works. In 1948, T.S. Eliot's immense contribution to literature was recognized with the highest honor, the Nobel Prize in Literature. This prestigious award cemented his place as one of the most important writers of the 20th century, not just in the English-speaking world, but globally. The Nobel Prize in 1948 wasn't just a recognition of a single work, but rather a celebration of his entire body of work, from his groundbreaking poems like The Waste Land and Four Quartets to his influential plays and critical essays. It acknowledged the profound impact he had on modern literature, his innovative use of language, and his insightful exploration of the human condition. The Nobel Prize in 1948 marked the culmination of a remarkable career, solidifying Eliot's legacy as a literary giant. The Cocktail Party, which premiered in 1949, stands out among Eliot's later works. It achieved considerable popular success and continues to be a frequently performed play. While it retains some of the poetic language characteristic of Eliot's writing, it's generally considered more accessible than his earlier, more experimental plays. The Cocktail Party explores themes of human relationships, self-deception, and the search for meaning in ordinary life. It centers around a group of people attending a cocktail party, and their interactions reveal hidden anxieties and unspoken desires. The play uses a seemingly light, drawing room comedy format to delve into deeper questions about love, commitment, and the nature of happiness. It's a play that invites audiences to reflect on their own lives and relationships, making it resonate even today. Following The Cocktail Party, Eliot's dramatic output continued with The Confidential Clerk in 1953. This play, like its predecessor, blends elements of comedy and more serious themes. It revolves around mistaken identities, secret parentage, and the search for one's true place in the world. The Confidential Clerk explores questions of vocation, the nature of identity, and the often complex dynamics within families and workplaces. While perhaps not as widely known as The Cocktail Party, it still showcases Eliot's skill in crafting engaging characters and using dialogue to reveal the underlying tensions and complexities of human interaction. Finally, The Elder Statesman, which premiered in 1958, marked Eliot's last play. This work takes a more reflective and somber tone than his previous comedies. The Elder Statesman deals with themes of guilt, regret, and the burden of the past. It centers on a retired politician who is forced to confront the consequences of his actions and seek redemption. The play explores the challenges of aging, the search for forgiveness, and the importance of self-awareness. While perhaps less frequently performed than some of his other plays, The Elder Statesman offers a poignant and thoughtful meditation on morality and the human condition, serving as a kind of summation of some of the themes that preoccupied Eliot throughout his career. T.S. Eliot's long and influential life came to an end on January 4, 1965, in London. He died of emphysema, a respiratory condition, at the age of 76. His death marked the loss of one of the most significant figures in 20th century literature. While his health had been declining in his later years, his passing still resonated deeply within the literary world and beyond. He was widely mourned, not only as a poet, playwright, and critic of exceptional talent, but also as a key intellectual voice of his time. His legacy, however, lived on through his vast body of work, which continues to be read, studied, and appreciated by generations of readers. Early works pre-1915, prose, The Birds of Prey short story, 1905. A Tale of a Whale short story, 1905. The Man Who Was King short story, 1905. The Wine and the Puritans Review, 1909. The Point of View 1909. Gentleman and Seaman 1909. Egoist Review, 1909. Poems, A Fable for Feasters 1905. A Lyric, If Time and Space as Sages Say 1905. At Graduation 1905-1905. Song, If Space and Time, as Sages Say 1907. Before Morning 1908. Circe's Palace 1908. Song, When We Came Home Across the Hill 1909. On a Portrait 1909. Song, The Moonflower Opens to the Moth 1909. Nocturne 1909. Humoresque 1910, Spleen 1910. Class Ode 1910. The Death of Saint Narcissus c. 1911-15. Other Poems and Collections, Prufrock and Other Observations 1917. This is a collection, the individual poems from which are generally discussed, but the collection itself sometimes gets overlooked in quick summaries. The Hollow Men 1925. Ariel Poems 1927-1954. A series of Christmas poems, often discussed individually, but the grouping is a distinct part of his output. Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats 1939. The Marching Song of the Pollicle Dogs and Billy M. Caw, The Remarkable Parrot 1939. Other Plays, Sweeney Agonists published 1926, performed 1934. The Rock 1934. Nonfiction Beyond the Core Critical Essays, Christianity and Culture 1939, 1948. Numerous essays, reviews, and introductions not collected in major volumes. These are too numerous to list individually, but important to acknowledge.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Pure and raw. Silence break, raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw.
every day.